We're going live. Yeah, welcome to the pre-show, everybody. Homer and Taylor show. This is the part of the show where we talk about what we're going to do on the show. It's a hell of a week. So busy this week. And it was kind of terrible news this week. I mean, there's some good stuff, but
yeah, another one of the passing of a legends.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. Celebrate that dude's life and career. Round robin at DC's down to 2 books. I don't like either of them.
I mean, they're not bad. They're just both like kind of mediocre sounding.
We'll talk about the Hall of Fame inductees. Frank Miller has a new publishing house, and then Moon Knight. Food news is a double dose of one's okay, the other one's just really gross. We do have an instruments of destruction or moment of destruction if Adam shows up. Otherwise, I ain't talking about those shitty TF books. And then top 3 on a pretty full week of books. Some great stuff this week. Anything else you want to add, T?
Don't need to do a whole thing about it, but I did go see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, dope. You can definitely talk about that in the segment 1. I really want to see that movie. It looks fucking dope.
It is really good.
I heard it's like a celebration of what's her name's like entire career in a weird way, but
I could see that. Michelle Yeoh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well that's it. That's the show. Let's get into it. It's going to be a fun one. So much to talk about this week.
Somebody wake up, Hicks.
It's not that boring. Oh yeah! Greetings, geeks. Welcome back. It's another episode of This Geek in Comics, Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Shit talk show.
Gomer and Taylor streaming.
Hey.
I told you like what 2 weeks ago, Facebook page hit 100,000. Whatever followers. I don't know. I don't even know what the fucking word is. It's up to like 120 now.
Well, look at that.
More and more getting the meat of this
terrible idea of yours.
Terrible
really
idea.
Flight. Yeah.
Has really taken off.
Yeah.
Segment 1, what I do this week, Ozark finale, finally, after the split into 2 parts. Great show. Just a story about just a regular, dude, an accountant, family man who gets mixed up laundering money for the drug cartel. And
this is one of those shows I know is good, but I have not partaken in at all.
It's a great binge now. You know what I mean? I think it's 4 seasons. It's not going to go by fast, but now that they're all there, it would be really, really fun to binge. Yeah, great show.
I'll put it on the list. Yeah,
dude, my list is fucking mile long.
I've never heard anything but good things about it though.
But you saw a great movie.
I did. I went to go see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I also went to go see Ambulance, which was one of the better Michael Bay movies, honestly.
Oh wow, really?
I would say so. It was a fun movie, but it doesn't hold a candle though to Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is one of those A24 movies, so it's going to have kind of a weird bench to it. But
I don't know if they've done a bad movie.
Not that I know of, but yeah, this one is. The basic premise is that some nobody loser woman who's going through a real rough patch in her life suddenly finds out she's the fucking chosen one to save the multiverse is the basic gist of it.
So it's like the opposite of Jet Li's The One.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
That's cool.
But
I love that movie.
The way they tell the story, the way they incorporate action scenes, the way that they present everything, the acting in this movie, all of it is just top notch. And I could see what you mean about this being a celebration of Michelle Yeoh's career because so the basic premise of how she is able to fight evil or whatever is that she can tap into the skill sets of alternate reality versions of herself. And one of her alternate reality versions of herself is more or less Michelle Yeoh. It's a kung fu action movie star.
Yo. I heard her do an interview on fresh air or some shit, and it was fantastic. I mean, she's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, for this movie to have that sort of angle to it, it's just really cool idea. Really cool idea.
It's also one of the more uplifting movies I've seen in a really long while.
Nice.
Like,
nice.
not to get into spoilers or anything,
Yeah,
but
don't do that.
yeah, there's like one of the messages of this movie is like nihilism versus, you know, having reasons to care about life. And
Okay.
the whole pitch they give for, you know, embracing kindness and being, you know, a good person, it's really moving. That's like, sometimes that would come off as feeling like really hackneyed or like contrived.
Sure.
But here it absolutely works.
Man, I'm
And also,
so excited.
the fucking kid from the Goonies, who I don't think has been in a movie since the Goonies, he's one of the main actors in this.
Yeah, he's actually talking about. He's not allowed to say because it's a Disney joint, but he's talking about coming back for Indiana Jones and shit like that, which would be so rad, man. It'd be so cool.
He is fucking amazing in this movie.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I would really look forward to that. He has one of the coolest fight scenes I've seen in a while. And he is he is just generally the best character in the movie, I would say.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, I got to see this damn movie. It's not
really
streaming
should.
Yet.
It's great.
It's not streaming yet, but as soon as it is, all right, let's do news. Legendary creator and more importantly, comic book activist. We'll talk about that. Neil Adams has passed away at age 80. Leroy of the Comic Book Bullies, I think, put it best. He was your favorite comic book artist's favorite comic book artist.
That's well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of those artists who defined the art style for one of the most beloved characters in the whole medium, you know? Like,
Batman.
He is, perhaps even still, the definitive Batman artist.
Yeah. Chip Zdarsky said, realism without using dynamism. It's an incredibly hard thing to do as a comic book artist. Neil Adams was one of the first to do it and the best. He's the new Batman writer, by the way, so he should know what he's talking about. I mean, just a quick, he was denied a freelance position at DC when he tried to break in. He kind of broke in at Archie. He wrote a Ben Casey medical drama comic strip, just to show you how old this dude was. He moved on to cover work at DC. He helped Roy Thomas revitalize the X-Men franchise on the verge of cancellation. It was still canceled, but this was in '69, way before Chris Claremont, worked on doing the same thing.
That's so weird to think about now. Like, X-Men is like maybe the biggest team book in comics,
Yeah. But that book was canceled, but Adams' work on it was appreciated much, much later. His work on Kree Skrull War, which is one of the landmark, Avengers runs. It's a defining book. He helped move Batman away from the campiness that was left over from the Adam West era, way before Frank Miller, did the same thing. Green Lantern, Green Arrow. I mean, really? I mean, that's really all we would need to say.
Yeah, I mean, you've listed a few things already that just, they would be resume making runs all on their own,
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe one of the most famous covers of all time right there,
Yeah. I mean, comics weren't allowed to be relevant before this book. You know what I mean? In a way. Or if they were, it wasn't really taken seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was more like after school special bullshit. But other things he did. I mean, here's the guy right here. Francavilla did a just this beautiful homage. It's just tribute, so beautiful. There's some of his Batman work, cover work, with stuff like that. But in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion, his biggest contribution to comics was nothing having to do with him holding a pencil. He was pro-union way back in the 70s. His efforts there helped lead to the modern industry standards of publishers returning original artwork back to the artists. It's hard to believe that that's, commonplace now, but it used to be a thing. Adams and King Kirby were giving back stuff from Marvel out of that deal, which made them millions of dollars on the secondary market. He lobbied to get Siegel and Schuster credit and money for creating Superman. He's the guy responsible for that. He helped create the Comic Creator Guild, even though it never took off. All right, let's just.
I mean, it
This
speaks
dude
a lot
created,
to his character in the first place, right? That like he made it, but he didn't try to pull up the rope after him. You know?
exactly, dude. He created Ra's al Ghul. He created Man-Bat. He created Jon Stewart. All right, and that's not his biggest contribution to comics. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know about this guy. And geez, yeah, Leroy put it best, man. Your favorite comic book writers, or favorite comic book artist, favorite comic book artist. So yeah, he's gonna be missed. I heard about it when I was at work, and I messaged like our Slack. I was like, hey, I'm gonna need 10 minutes. I'm gonna need some time, and I did. I had to go collect myself because wow, what a loss. Yeah, he's a legend though. He will live on forever in the work that he did and the way he changed the industry. Hopefully, it continues to move in that direction. Anyway, moving on. Round robin, final two. It's Suicide Squad. Well, this is where we started, right? Came down here. Final four. Now, Suicide Squad Dark by Zach Thompson and Gary Brown against Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow from Kenny Porter.
Man, you've been ragging on this Superboy one from the beginning. You didn't want this out of round one.
I'm a fan of Superboy. I'm just not.
I mean, I like the character just fine. And honestly, I don't really have anything against either of these books, but both of these seem more, like things they probably would have done anyway,
Yeah,
like
you're not wrong there.
A lot of the more interesting concepts, like that Alan Scott Green Lantern book, we were both raving about that one.
Like first round, dude. I was so disappointed.
Well, I think it was the second round, but either way, it's gone. Yeah. And they weeded out those Constantine books. Both of those look pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're left with two things that just aren't as bold, which I guess is to be expected, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you're looking for mass appeal, not something all niche. Everything else on there, you're right, is a lot more niche. I hate this idea. I hate both of these ideas. The Suicide Squad pitch, meet the occult task force of Earth 13. Field leader Vampire Batman commands a top secret team of murderers, monsters, and demons. The magic dampening parasites hooked into their brains keep them following orders, and the promise of freedom keeps them motivated. I could honestly see this sort of becoming a thing that happens all the time.
Yeah,
like a permanent part of the universe.
This seems like from the same like green light process that allows things like that. What's that zombie book with?
Yes. Marvel or Justice League zombie. I don't
whatever that thing with like it's got like Jason Todd I think in it or something. Yeah, whatever, but
dumb.
They do stuff like this all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So it seems fine. I don't want to like just shit all over this book. It seems like it can be fun.
Sure. It's gonna be Vampire Batman Frankenstein. Who I actually adore.
Frankenstein's a cool character. He's a character that I like to see, get more limelight.
Yeah, Raven, Gorilla Grodd, who doesn't really feel like a horror character to me. Anyway, Spore, Zatanna, Plasma Man, and Sinestro, who I guess is this guy. He turns into a werewolf, maybe?
I don't know.
Sinestro.
Honestly, thought it might be like a dinosaur Sinestro or something.
A dinosaur.
They're doing that like Justice League dinosaur book.
They are.
But
that is going up against Connor Kent is back. But this isn't the DC universe he knows, with Jonathan, Kara, and Clark protecting Earth. Connor feels like an outsider. It's just a find yourself sort of book. He's just going to go on an adventure. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of this guy.
I mean, I can see how this makes kind of a cool like meta narrative because this is a character who has been really sidelined ever since they introduced Jonathan Kent.
Sure. It has the same sort of feeling if you're putting it in that classification as the that recent Beta Ray Bill book. You know what I mean, where he was kind of an outsider all of a sudden. And
yeah, well, I mean, if either of these books are half as good as that Beta Ray Bill book, it's going to be great. But
oh my god,
if I had to pick one of these two, I guess I'd probably go with that Suicide Squad Dark.
I would as well. And again, it has everything to do with I'm just not a fan of Superboy at all. I'm just not a fan of that guy. I think the winners are going to be announced this week, so we will follow up on that on the next episode. All right, Eisner Awards. These are the Hall of Fame inductees. The 2022 class includes Max Gaines, who is the EC founder and publisher. He devised the first 4-color saddle stitch newsprint comic.
I mean, EC is one of those like things like I feel like you know about if you know like the history of comic books.
Right.
So yeah, definitely a deserving
Addition.
inductee there. Yeah.
Agreed. Mark Ruhnwald,
Oh yeah,
legendary.
one of the best Captain America runs ever, I think, or maybe.
Yep. He's a legendary editor at Marvel as well. British illustrator Marie Duval. She co-creator in 1867 of the British cartoon character Ali Sloper, considered the first recurring cartoon character. That's a little bit of trivia along with this inductee. You know, that's
Yeah.
just amazing to me. And a woman doing this back in 1867. That's just blows my mind.
Yeah, this seems like a good opportunity to give credit where credit is due. That's
For
probably long
sure.
past due, you know.
Yeah. Cartoonist Rose O'Neill, she created the Cupies in 1912. Filipino American artist Alex Nino, DC Marvel, Warren, and Heavy Metal. P. Craig Russell, I mean, you almost don't even need to say. Best known for Elric and his collaboration with Neil Gaiman on Sandman Coraline, one of my favorites, American Gods and Norse mythology. The judges have also chosen 17 nominees for whom voters will select 4 to be inducted in the Hall of Fame this summer. The nominees are a who's who: Howard Chaykin, Jerry Conway, Kevin Eastman, Steve Englehart, Moto Hagio, Larry Hama, the godfather of G.I. Joe, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, David Mazzucchelli, Jean-Claude Mézeray, Grant Morrison, Gasper Saladino, Jim Shooter, who should not be allowed to join the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. Gary Trudeau, Ron Turner, George Tosca, Mark Wade, and Kat Uron Wode.
There are some fucking names on that list.
Some of these, yes, eventually they should be allowed to join the Hall of Fame. Okay, Larry Hama, Grant Morrison, Mark Wade.
I mean, those guys
Jim
are
Shooter,
shoo-ins.
sure.
They don't need help right now,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. Eventually go in. All of them still have like books coming out like every month. Okay. No Hall of Fame for you until even Kevin Eastman had a book come out this week.
Yeah, I mean, they
right?
should be like 5 years retired minimum, like they do with most other Hall of Fames.
Yeah, like NFL and shit like that. But Jerry Conway, I mean, he's got to get in there. Howard Chaykin, I think, is actually still working, but damn.
Yeah, he does covers at least every now and then.
Gary Trudeau, I mean,
yeah, Gary I mean,
Trudeau, he's known even outside comic book circles, you know?
Like the vast majority of the names you named, like I hear them as like they're not already in or, you know, they're inevitably going to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Except you, Jim Shooter. No one wants you in. Anyway, there you go. We'll have more on that when the Eisners happen eventually. Last bit of news before we get to Moon Knight. Frank Miller launches an independent publishing company. There was a quick bit of news on this last week because Dan Didio is actually going to be the publisher over here. But it's called, what the hell is it called, man? FNP, Frank Miller Publications.
Oh, it took me long. I was sitting here wondering what FNP stood for, but now I feel like an idiot for not putting just together Frank Miller.
So, I mean, that's pretty good news. Okay. Dan Didio is actually going to be the editor-in-chief. Oh, no, hold on. All right, all right. Miller is going to be the EIC. Dan Didio is going to be the publisher. And they got some other dude in there, Selene Thomas. He's the CEO of Frank Miller Inc. It will be the COO of FMP. All right. What does this actually mean? Why do we give a shit? Because we are getting new Sin City and new Ronin out of this. That's all I care about.
I mean, that should be pretty cool. I mean, Frank Miller is, we were just talking about like, you know, big names in comic books. Frank Miller is on that pantheon for sure.
For sure.
He has been batshit insane for a few years now, but his contributions to comics are undeniable. You know?
And I'm okay with that. Alan Moore's been batshit insane forever, and he's my
favorite
writer. So, now we're not really exactly sure exactly how this is going to pan out. Miller is definitely still writing comics.
Yeah.
He's not drawing as much as he used to. You know what I mean?
I bet the drawing muscles deteriorate faster than the old writing mind, you know?
Sure, and it takes you a while. You know, it takes you longer. But he did have Raphael Grandpa do that Golden Child, you know, the new Dark Knight book in 2019.
Yeah.
And there's also going to be other works on this, right? There are original titles planned for this house called Pandora, as well as a book called Ancient Enemies. We have no idea if he's writing, drawing, having other people jump in and doing it. But either way, I am excited. Yeah, no shit, bro. I hear you, George. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. That grandpa art was great though. Raphael grandpa art was fantastic. I mean, if that's what you're talking about, the
Well,
Golden Child one.
I think he means the Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. Come on, get over it.
Yeah.
That's been like 50 fucking years,
That
George.
came out right around 9/11 because they actually had to change the
They
ending to
did.
one of the opening to one of the comics because 9/11 happened. But
Yeah. But it's been
but
20 years, man. Come
it
on.
has, although that is indicative, like Dark Knight Returns, there's parts of it that have not aged well, but that is undeniably a seminal Batman story.
Oh, for sure.
But that does kind of indicate that like Frank hasn't had like the magic for a while now.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm hoping that it's because he keeps going back to shit that he should have never gone back to in the first place. He should
Maybe.
have stopped Batman after his first run. It was gold. It was perfect. It didn't need a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Knight Returns and Dark Knight Year One are like two of the top 5 Batman stories ever. And Sin City, I mean, its contribution to just how we even tell stories in comic books, that's just cannot take anything away from that.
And Ronin is groundbreaking too, and it's
Ronin's good shit, yeah.
Yeah, in its own way, it's fantastic.
It's easy to forget too that before like 300, the movie was just like a meme factory. That 300 comic book was like the shit,
it's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn here because eventually, you lose that edge and you're not going to be able to make the same shit at the same quality that you used to. So yeah, I mean, he needs coke and hookers.
Yeah.
So, good for him.
Yeah.
He's trying to get out there.
Speaking of hookers, apparently that's like another criticism of Frank's. Like every female character he ever writes is either a nun or a hooker.
It's true. There's no middle ground for what he does. Or
but,
both. I think.
But then on the other hand, once again, both. We were talking when we were talking about Devil's Reign, right? How many times did that homage Born Again? And we were singing its praises for it,
Exactly. So yeah, we'll have more on that. Hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on some of those new books coming out. No word on when they are going to come out or when those new books are going to come out. They're hoping to start by the end of this year, but that's bound to be delayed. Penultimate episode, Moon Knight. This shit just keeps getting better. Really, I think the overarching thing that I have to say, besides I have a new crush in the MCU, is Oscar Isaac shouldn't just get an Emmy for this. He should probably get 2 Emmys.
I saw the thing that got shared on the site. Yeah, like Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor.
I mean, geez, it's just amazing how good of a job he's
doing. I mean, we've been talking about this all along, but it really is amazing just how much of this show hinges on Oscar Isaac's ability to play off of himself.
Yes, it's amazing. But my new crush, Taure,
she was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, she's just so great. She's so fun. And really, that's what it is. She wasn't funny. She wasn't really all that compelling. But damn, just a fun fucking character for this weird, crazy ass show that's got so much heart, so much of the feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I could say, the worst fucking mom in the world. I mean, I get it. She too is suffering, but damn, girl, pull yourself together.
Well, I mean, she let her suffering spiral to like encompass everyone around her, which I get that, that's a tricky subject. And I think that that's to the show's credit that they brought in some difficult material for us to work with here,
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, that spinning into, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to have a good sense of perspective because I knew what was going on. I knew who the real person was.
Well, yeah, not to toot our own horn, but we did sort of call this a few weeks ago because you and
I it's adapted. It's straight out comics.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we really can't take credit for this because we knew all along that Mark Spector was the prime personality and that Stephen Grant was the offshoot. And so that we knew this moment where Stephen realizes that he is sort of the construct. He is the artificial person.
Yeah.
That still hit really well, but it's kind of targeting back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago. Would it have hit even harder if we didn't know that going in?
Yeah, if we had no clue. My wife has had trouble trying to keep up with this show anyway. She's like, well, this shit's all over the place. Are they trying to be Indiana Jones? Are they trying to be a superhero show? Are they trying to be, talk about mental illness? And I was like, I think it's trying to do kind of all three. And she just couldn't get into it. It was all over the place. But there was no fighting in this episode. So much drama.
Yeah, that speaks to the show's quality,
does.
though. Like, this was, I think, the best episode so far.
Oh, for sure.
Not a punch was thrown. I guess at the end there was a little bit of fighting, but...
Yeah. Great special effects with this sand boat barge of the dead sort of thing, and then like going in and it's a hospital asylum, in the ship, and that's how they're supposed to figure it out.
Yeah, I love them playing the mind games. Like, that's another one where I wonder how I would feel if I didn't like know what was going on. Like, would I think for a moment that like, oh, has this all been in his head?
Yeah, man.
And that harkens back to that Jeff Lemire run from a few years ago.
Exactly. And I mean, it's even deeper than that because he's creating his own delusion on that ship. You know what I mean? That's not the bad guys trying to, get over on him. That's him just being himself. And it sort of points to his overall problem.
Yeah, like as he's sitting here dying, he basically has no choice but to confront his inner demons for the first time in the show,
Yeah. Just really well done. I can't believe there's only one episode left. They have so much to do.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of
much to do.
At this point, we can be pretty confident they are not going to use Jake any more than they already have. So that's something that they can set up for next season.
That is very disappointing.
I understand it. I mean, I get like they're already trying to do a lot with just the two personalities, with just 6 episodes. I can understand the decision not to bring in the third personality.
Why set it up? Why set it up the way they did?
Well, I mean, I kind of like the way they've been teasing it. I kind of wish if they were going to do something with it, it would have had to have been this episode. Yeah. Part of me really wishes they had, but it's an understandable storytelling decision, I think.
No, you're not wrong. I don't know. I think I'm a whiner when it comes to too many episodes, right? And maybe not WandaVision, but all of these other shows, maybe not What If too, but there was at least 1 or 2 boring ones. They've had episodes that they didn't need. Falcon and Winter Soldier definitely had episodes where they wasted some time.
Yeah, like
Loki had probably had 2 episodes where it's like, gee, I mean, they were good episodes, but it's like, come on.
I honestly don't know that there was too much fat to trim off of Loki, but that is one of the trickier things to do when you're sitting out to like plot out a season, right? It's like, do I really need 7 episodes or can I do this in 6?
Yeah. And it's a good take, if you can tell your story in 6, go ahead. But I wanted more of your story. You should have done it in 8. I wanted more episodes.
I'm 1,000% looking forward to season 2 of this or a movie or wherever they decide to put the character next.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're better off keeping this to 1 season, saying that it's a limited sort of thing.
Well, I guess it depends on how it ends.
Winning the Emmys for all the limited shit that they can win, because it's a lot easier to win Emmys in limited categories. But yeah, Moon Knight's definitely coming back. They're not going to waste Oscar Isaac.
I mean, all these characters show up again somewhere, But
yeah,
WandaVision, there should absolutely not be another season of that.
No. Loki, definitely.
They ended that on a huge cliffhanger. Yeah, we definitely need another season of that. What If is pretty easy to put out another season of, I guess.
They could, but who cares? I mean, maybe after Multiverse of Madness and they open everything up a little bit more, they'll be
maybe. I mean,
they'll even more stories.
That show's just until the end. It was just a series of vignettes, right? So they could just do that as much as they want.
Sure.
I'm the most conflicted about Falcon and Winter Soldier because I feel like it's like an action-oriented show, so you could probably work in another season of that pretty easily.
They're going to do a movie.
Yeah, I mean, they're making the new Captain America movie with Sam and everything, so yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Gabe, thanks for stopping by. Thinking about you, bro.
Taking Gomer's side.
Way too meaty, and 1 season is good for now. I want to see more Loki, but I want to see more Loki in the context of everything else that the MCU is doing. It cannot be just the TVA. The TVA is so ingrained into this multiverse shit that now No Way Home is touched on, and now Multiverse of Madness is going to touch on next week. I want to see more of Loki, but more closely engaged with the rest of the MCU. And it's not. And it's really going to be really hard to do because Loki's supposed to be dead. Everybody like, oh, Loki dead. Anyway, yeah, thanks for stopping by, Gabe. We appreciate it. So we'll have the next and final episode. We'll talk about that next week.
Next week we'll be able to, I guess, kind of rank the show overall because I think it's probably going to be at least in my top 3.
Yeah, right now I would say it's probably in my top 3 as well. WandaVision is still just a miracle kind of a show to me. It should not have
WandaVision
worked.
is going to be difficult to
Yeah,
dethrone because like there was so much going on with
yeah,
that, with like homages to television and just the
yeah.
way they handled like her grief and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't think there has ever been another show like WandaVision, you know. Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Thanks, Gabe. He said that Falcon and Winter Soldier needed more episodes that had weight to them. I agree. They had weight on a lot of
Yeah.
these episodes. They really should have hit it home a little bit harder.
When they were at, it was kind of a show of peaks and valleys, right? The peaks
Yes.
were good, like I especially like the last couple episodes, but I should say that I liked all of these shows, and
Me too.
sometimes like if I'm ranking them, I'm being a little granular, but definitely my top 3 right now are probably Moon Knight, Loki, and WandaVision.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I don't know. I really liked Hawkeye too, man.
I did really like Hawkeye. I liked all of them, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, cool. We'll talk about that next episode, last episode on our next episode. Let's do food news.
Yummy.
The first one's not really all that gross. Heinz has announced Dip and Crunch. It's exactly what it sounds like. It comes with 2 little packs, one with a sauce. It's either going to be secret sauce with whatever, and then a spicy dip and crunch, which has a spicier sauce. It's $2.50, and it's pretty much exactly what you see on the screen there. You
Yeah, I
take
mean,
your burger, you dunk it in the sauce, and then you dunk your sauce dipped burger into some potato chip crunchers.
I don't hate this.
I don't hate this either.
I
I
could
want
see
to
like
try it
I feel
though.
like this could really upgrade a burger depending on, you know, how good that secret sauce is.
Yeah. So that's something. I'm not against this, and again, good and bad, but I'm letting you decide. Is this good or is this the bad one? I'm going to show you the next one.
All right.
Tropicana is coming out with cereal specifically for orange juice.
This is the bad one.
This is the bad one.
This
You're
is
right.
definitely the
This
bad
is
one.
definitely the bad one. The only thing I can imagine that's worse than this is brushing my teeth before I eat it.
Oh no, orange juice after toothpaste
Yeah.
is like
Uh,
one of the worst feelings in your mouth.
Yeah, Tropicana is actually giving away boxes of this, which sounds like it's a promotion, but honestly, it's really the only way they could get rid of it after their PR came up with this idea. It sounds disgusting.
All right, so what is this cereal that supposedly gels well with orange juice?
It's honey almond cereal, is the way they described it. It contains honey almond clusters. The spokesperson at Tropicana said, after testing multiple flavors and textures and then pumping the stomachs of the people who tested it, no, the company opted for a granola-based cereal because it can withstand the acidity of orange juice better than things like flakes.
Okay, so even this thing that supposedly
Yes.
goes better with orange juice than everything else they tested, I think you'd still rather have milk.
Yeah, I think I would still rather want to put milk on this. And honestly, you could put orange juice on any cereal.
Like,
This is, I mean, they're saying this is specially designed to go with orange juice. I don't get it.
I mean, orange juice is an outstanding thing to have with your breakfast. You know, I love orange
Sure.
juice.
Yeah, me too.
But
I'm more of a Sunny D guy, but okay.
This just seems wrong on like a fundamental level. This seems
Yes.
wrong.
Yes. I mean, you want to see something even worse? Here's a bowl of it.
Mm.
Could you imagine looking down at that 6, 7 o'clock in the morning,
It looks like I threw up my cereal.
getting ready for your day, and that's what you start your day looking in on? Yeah. Nope. Not me. Nasty. So yeah, there you go. Good and bad. All right, we are going to do a quick moment of distraction. We won't talk about the comics, even though they were terrible. They were bad.
I guess that's all you really need to say, right?
But they got some new G.I. Joe classified figures announced. The first 3 are okay. Okay, it's Tiger Force shit, right? You notice they got the tiger thing on their pants, dude. You see that?
I see it, yeah.
Tiger Force, all that means is they're limited to certain stores. They're store specific. Like Target. Fucking Target. I hate that shit. I really, really want that bazooka though. But they did announce Zorana. Like Zartan's like, I don't know, little sister or some shit. Cousin, I don't know. Crimson Guards, which are great. And I understand why Hasbro puts these out, because anybody who buys one of these is going to buy 3 of them. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna want more than just one guard, and a beautiful looking Dusty. He comes with those great clothes, and he's just very cool, very cool. Anyway, I definitely wanted to mention those, but fuck it. All right, you're up, bro. Let's do this. Stupid comics are actually pretty good this week.
Yeah, there are definitely some pretty good ones.
All right, yeah. You want to lead us off this week, man?
Sure. I'll do an honorable mention for Justice League number 75.
Oh, that's on my list.
It's basically just one big fight, but it was kind of a cool, like, multiversal conglomeration type of deal. The main reason it's not on my list proper is because I have not been reading the Justice League Incarnate stuff, so I definitely felt like I was jumping onto a moving treadmill with this.
That's fair.
That being said, it was fun. I mean, it gave you enough to know what's going on. It kind of gave you the gist of everything you needed to know.
I will talk about that book later.
It was nice to read Justice League without the Bendisian dialogue is the main thing. But
on the nose.
I'll throw out another honorable mention for Trial of the Amazons number 2. They wrapped up this series. It was a pretty cool little brouhaha. Like the whole like sisterhood vibe it gave off was it was pretty cool.
Yeah, not a bad book.
Yeah. Third honorable mention for Dark Knights of Steel number 6.
We'll definitely talk about that as well.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun so far. I'm really loving all like the intrigue and the politics of everything. John Constantine was my favorite part of this book. I love the whole thing. It's like, John, you're a good guy. He's like, no, I'm not. And then he just fucking like fireballs him.
Yeah.
Well written John Constantine is always a treat, and this book has had that going on for the whole time.
Nice.
But my number 3 this week is going to be Thor number 24, or legacy numbered 750.
Yeah.
This was pulling in a lot of the all-time great Thor writers and artists. We had JMS reuniting with Olivier Coipel. We had Dan Jurgens coming back. We had Walt fucking Simonson. Yeah,
Jesus.
I'm building up to the big guns here. So, yeah, we also.
I thought you were going to end with and Donnie Cates as well.
No,
one of these things is not like the other.
I mean, I didn't dislike the Donnie Cates stuff, but
he kind of pulled everything together. He had this constant thread of Thor doing this eulogy.
Yeah,
it was kind of really genius the way he did it.
Yeah, it was a cool way to set up the anthology book here. You know, it was a great like narrative structure for them. But yeah, we also had Jason Aaron coming back. Telling a story about so Al Ewing and Jason Aaron are continuing to kind of pimp their own shit right now. Like we got Thor doing like his like Odin from like 1,000,000 BC or whatever story here. And we also had Donnie Cates setting up for the next Defender story. But that being said, I was fucking here for it because I like all of those things. I love all these writers and artists. And it was kind of cool to see like everyone who is currently still alive, who is like an all-time Thor great coming together.
Wild, dude.
Which is good because it was $9 but I feel like it was $9 worth. It was $9 well spent, so that's going to get you on my top 3.
It really did a good job of getting every sort of era of Thor. Involved and.
Yeah, like Dan Jurgens, like his run kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, but he had a huge run going in the 90s. He built up to that Ragnarok story, which was really cool.
Yeah.
JMS from like the early mid 2000s.
Still one of my favorite runs, dude.
Jason Aaron, still perhaps the greatest Thor run of all time. And then you have Walter Simonson, who's the other contender for the greatest Thor run of all time.
Yeah.
So
I was actually having a talk with someone about that. You know, they said, oh, he had the definitive. And I'm like, you know, in a medium like comics where it's 80 years, well, 60 years in this case, isn't it? 60 years of Thor.
Yeah.
Of 60 years of ongoing continuity where real life is reflected in the art, there can be more than one definitive version.
I would agree.
Yeah, there really can.
If your favorite version of Thor is the one who has like wacky sci-fi space adventures, then yeah, I would agree that Walt Simonson is probably your guy. And he had a really cool Beta Ray Bill story in this, you know?
So fun, dude. Yeah. Yeah, good choice. The price tag really threw me. It was good, but yeah, it was.
I'm not going to die on that hill. It was
No, you're
it
right.
was pretty
No,
expensive. Yeah.
you're right. My honorable mentions. I'll start with shit if I can find it. Yeah, Fourth Man #1. This wraps Jeff McCombs and Mike Diodato Jr.'s sort of a great little crime series. Showcase some of Diodato's really great photo referential artwork over at AWA. Just a really fun, story. Godzilla, MMPR #2. Colin Bunn, Freddie
That's
Williams.
my number 2.
Yeah, this is my honorable mention. We'll talk about it again. Just big, dumb, stupid fun. Just fucking great. My number 3, however, was Dark Knights of Steel #6. Tom Taylor, Yasmin Putri. Halfway through this book, and it just keeps on pleasing. And that's really the word for it. There's nothing really revolutionary going on here. I think the best word for it is it's just really, really clever. Tom Taylor has found a way to wrap up Game of Thrones in this beautiful paper onto the DC universe. And every month it comes out, we just get to see these really cool little things that he's able to do. Etrigan and Ra's al Ghul, the angle that they had here with Constantine.
That was really clever. I like that is a clever way to blend two characters and get them on the page, simultaneously,
Kal-El goes to the Amazons and they're like, no man shall ever step foot on Themyscira, and he's like, no man has, and they show his feet and he's still hovering on the ground.
And I also this was one of the funner meet cutes between Superman and Lois Lane.
Yeah. I didn't like how Etrigan wasn't rhyming in everything he said, but there was enough of a rhyme there where Taylor gets off.
Yeah.
And the war is starting. And it ended like an epic fantasy would. An episode. Oh, we're on our way.
Yeah, the Amazons are sailing to war. Yeah.
Yeah, just really cool shit going on here. I didn't know what to expect when this book first came out, but it might be time to retire it because every fucking issue is fucking perfect, and I love it.
Okay, I want to make a suggestion for your retirement rule. When the finale comes out, allow it to come off the retirement list.
Oh, for sure. Yes. But, man, such a great book. I look forward to it every time it comes out. Tom Taylor has 3 books now at DC that are, in my opinion, must-read books.
Yeah, he's easily leading the pack when it comes to the, top of the list. Read it right away.
Even though Joshua Williamson got, 5 books going right now.
Yeah, and they're all really good, but, I gotta say, Tom Taylor's are the ones where it's like, oh yeah, Nightwing's coming out,
Yes. Cool. Number 3, number 2.
My number 2 was we just mentioned it, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #2. Like you said, this is big stupid fun, and that's really all there is to say about this. Yep. We have the fucking Megazord fighting Gigan. We had the simultaneous knockout between Godzilla and the Megazord. Yeah. This is just stupid fun, but there's nothing wrong with that, Yeah.
My favorite part of this issue was when they're like, all right, now we got to go find Tommy. So they all park their Zords and then go running. And then they get to Tommy and Tommy's like, no, you got to get back to the Zords. So okay. And then they run back. And I was just like, wait,
the story is just a vehicle to set up the fights, but they're doing a pretty good job with that. I appreciate it when a book that's really the premise is beside the point.
Yes.
That the story is just a vehicle to get us to the big set pieces. I appreciate it when that book or movie or whatever tries harder than it needs to make it coherent and, somewhat plausible. And I feel like this book is pulling that off.
Well, Freddie Williams II is killing it with the art.
Oh, yeah, that's the other big draw for this book is that these splash pages, especially when we got Godzilla and the big fights going on, they are gorgeous.
Yeah, I wish I had to grab more pages of it, dude. It's just a really fun, dumb, stupid book. I think it's so great. So fun.
I mean, it does have that thing going where everyone is calling each other by their first name with every sentence so that you know who all the characters are.
I like how they do the word balloons for the Rangers in different colors. I think that's a cool idea too.
They kind of got that Larry Hama thing going on for that, but hey, who doesn't fucking love Larry Hama? So.
That's right. He's maybe a Hall of Famer.
Eventually.
My number 2 is Jason Aaron's Punisher #2.
I wasn't able to get this one this week.
Oh, dude. Jesus Saiz, Paul Azaceta. I'm just really loving this series. I mean, look at this. I mean, you don't really see shit like this where Frank is, almost having a good time. I mean, obviously he's having a good time, but
Yeah.
he's in like a place now where he's being respected for what he does. You know what I mean? And of
Yeah,
course, he's got his old lady back.
it's an interesting status quo for the Punisher where he's being given all the resources he could ever want.
Yeah.
And they have given him his, what he thinks at least, his happiness back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really interesting angle that we know is eventually going to come crashing down in the worst of ways, but it's a fun premise to see, how we get there.
Yeah, it's like Jason Aaron knows exactly what drives this character. He's done it before. He's written this character before, but he's applying that angle of Frank Castle's character in an entirely new way, but that still feels so familiar. I love this line here. For centuries now, one land has shown a propensity for violence beyond all others, from genocide to slavery to shopping mall shootings. And that's why this old lady decided to go to America to get their new, big killer. So great.
I mean, I feel like we're being called out on the carpet here, but
we
it's hard to deny.
being called out. Do you think Banner of War will be this fun? I think Banner of War has to be fun, or it's pointless.
I mean, Donny Cates knows how to write fun.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'll be checking that out. So I'm sure we'll report back on that one.
It's going to be weird way they sort of pull in the Hulk right now, because the way they're doing Hulk doesn't feel like they'd be able to meet him up with Thor.
Well, Gabriel,
they'll figure it out.
Gabriel is right to compare this with the Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers thing. It's more plausible for the Hulk and Thor to be hanging out since they're in the same universe and everything, but the basic premise is still the same. We are getting these people together to have stupid punchy fights.
Yeah. Back to Punisher, just great violence. Here, him just beating the shit out of this guy. And the big reveal at the end of this issue, it's Ares. Ares is the guy who's sort of in control of all these folks. And
look who's acting all tough now that he's got his legs attached again.
Yep. It's all fun and games until you get ripped in half by, a Superman pastiche. So, Punisher book. I'm really enjoying this run so far, and it's only 2 issues in. I mean, more or less, I'm reading this book because I want to see what happens next. You know what I mean? I don't really want to read this whole story. I want to see where the end of this story is going to be.
Well,
they're making it great along the way.
That's what I think makes Jason Aaron a good writer for the Punisher. Is like he does write some really cool like murder porn, and that's a big reason why people pick up the Punisher books in the first place. He also does a great job getting you to care about like the thematic stuff with the Punisher. Yeah, and that's where he really shines.
They had a great thing in this where he's sort of getting the powers of the beast. It's like these supernatural powers that he's getting. And it's like, Frank's got to have an end game. Frank is doing this. He knows the Hand is just as bad as the motherfuckers that the Hand is sending him out to murder. And he's waiting. He's biding his time. I think he's getting these powers from the beast, and he's eventually going to flip. And my wife be damned. That's not my wife, sort of shit.
That was a cool moment from the Punisher TV show, right? The big climax for the first season, where like he kind of like he turns away from like resting and being with his wife again, because like the thing he truly cares about the most is the punishment.
That's right. Yeah. Cool. All right, that was my number 2. Number one book of the week.
It had to be The Last Ronin, number 5.
It was solid.
It was cool as hell, man. I mean, we had this basically was just one big knockdown, drag out fight between Mikey and
every fucking body.
Yeah, in every fucking body, but like Baby Shredder is like the main guy. This didn't have much in it besides the fight, but it was really cool to see him like switching between all of his brother's weapons. It was really awesome to see him, have the big, like, gritty beatdown of a fight like it was. Like, he's getting the shit kicked out of him the whole time, and they're like going down a skyscraper. They eventually crash into his sewers where he was, born and raised, and it finally ends in a mud pit right outside the city, It's really cool to see him kind of like adapt to Baby Shredder's fucking bullshit armor crap that he has going on. And I also really liked the whole thing with Casey and April's daughter, Casey Marie here. She was a pretty compelling character in her own right. It's cool seeing April, have her really heartbreaking goodbye to the final turtle. You know, she's buried everyone else, and now she has to bury Mikey too. You know.
Yeah. This didn't make my list of my honorable mentions because it was a great comic. Don't get me wrong, but like you said, it was just a big knockdown, drag out fight the whole time,
But
and
the build up to it was really good.
sort of moved away from what this book had been.
Well, I
This
mean,
introspective thing
we were
where
past all the flashbacks. You know, there was no one
sure,
left to
sure,
remember. I feel like if you sit down and read this all at once instead of like
yes,
separated by like a fucking year, like we
yeah,
ended up having,
yeah,
I think that it'll read a lot better because it's been building up to this for a while, and I thought it was a good capstone to all that
yeah.
build up.
I'll be honest, I got a little emotional at the end. I mean, and spoilers, Mikey ends up, kind of going into heaven, the afterlife, and his
Oh
brothers
yeah,
are
shit.
there
I should have
waiting
said
for
spoiler
him.
earlier. I kind of already said that, but
And his family's like they're waiting for him, and Splinter and Casey, and they're just doing their thing, like going on patrol. That's his heaven, and it was just such a poignant thing
it
that
was cool to
yeah,
see
he's a
him
Ronin, dude.
like
He's a warrior.
his version of heaven is like him talking bullshit with his brothers again.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. Just very touching there. But again, I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. The first four issues of this, it was really introspective, and uh, it sort of, I don't know, it sort of made the whole TMNT mythos. It put this dark blemish on it in a way, where I don't know, where they were almost just as bad as what Shredder was doing. The way they lived their lives. The almost like a waste, at one point. In the last issue, he was. What was it all for? What was it? What was actually going on? Anyway, another part of this, but Casey Marie has 4 little turtles that she's raising, so they could definitely continue this in a whole new sort of light.
They even said that they were going to. Yeah.
That'd be rad. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, great choice. The book's been just out there for a while. But I'm glad it's finally over. You're right. Maybe I should go back and reread everything, all at once, and I'll have it in a, see it in a different way. My number one, I couldn't pick anything else. Death of the Justice League. Justice League number 75. Joshua Williamson, Rafa Sandoval. Prelude to the Dark Crisis event. Non-stop fucking action. Every page,
Yeah.
something was happening.
Yes.
No frills.
We
no
both
muss.
we
No
both
fuss.
picked number one that was basically just one big fight from cover to cover.
Yeah. But that's what I wanted from this.
Oh, but this was really, I'm not knocking that. This is really cool. Like, it's cool seeing like the fucking like dream team of villains being pulled out here to fight them and everything,
Yeah, look at that, man. I love that shit. I love that. But it was no muss, no fuss, no big story. I mean, I don't know what the hell this is. What is it?
That's been going on in the Green Lantern book.
Yeah, I'm behind on that. I need to catch up on that. Well, not anymore. He's dead.
He absorbed like a big fucking energy thing. It's whatever.
Yeah. The Spectre coming out and killing him, and then Ollie coming. Oh, Ollie's got it. No, you don't. You don't. Dark Side fist to the fucking melon.
Well, Doomsday, but
oh yeah, sorry, Doomsday. And then the just awesome design work here with the big three, the Trinity getting owned. Just
that's a really cool way to like lay out the panels and everything.
Yeah. Just beautiful, dude. And then very reminiscent of the Hulk, getting sent to it was actually Silver Surfer in the comic. It was Hulk in the movie.
Oh, I didn't even occur to me, but yeah, that is pretty much the same.
They're dead, and I'm the reason I like this so much is because I'm an event guy. All right, everybody shits on events. People don't like events. I love comic book events.
They do events for a reason,
Yes. And I really want to see what happens during Dark Crisis when the Justice League is now dead. This is it. This is all we care about. This has nothing to do with the story except it's setting up the story. And this was action-packed. Every single page, every single panel was nothing but a fun, good popcorn summer blockbuster style comic book. And that's what I wanted. And that's exactly what I got. I can't wait for Dark Crisis. It's going to be so fucking good. That's it. That's all of our books. But how weird is it? No mention of Amazing Spider-Man? We're not even going to mention it.
I mean, I actually didn't get it. It was sold out of the shop, so I didn't really get a chance to read it anyway.
It was not great. Knights of X, not great. Not great. I was really disappointed with books that I was expecting to just, knock it out of the park. But, oh well. So yeah, that's it. Some good books this week. We're going to talk about all the books coming out next week tomorrow. But first, go check out the Comic Book Bullies. They're going to be on tonight on this very channel. You can go to outrightgeekery.com to get links to all of the shit that they've got going on. It's some really cool shit that Eli and Leroy are doing over there, so check them out. Like I said, we're going to talk about all the comic books coming out later this week on tomorrow night's show. Big David will stop by for that. Please come and join us. It would be great if you would hang out and talk about all the cool comic books that are coming out this week. What else, man? We got all kinds of shit going on the YouTube page. Big Willie is streaming over at the YouTube page, not the Facebook page. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's got the creators outlet pumping out again.
Yeah, it's been a really good time watching him interview, comic book writers and shit like that. And he also did the OK Boomer, which is like their retro show. Him and Thomas over there doing that. Great show. So yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. Keep coming back. We really appreciate it. But most of all, thanks to this dude for hanging out with this guy.
Glad to do it.
We are going to do it again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
Oh man,
I know David really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. I might want to talk to him about it tomorrow.
Oh, cool.